Hey, fellow farmers, this is How to Pharmacy. So today I want to talk about some things that RXprep doesn't tell you. So we know that RXprep, of course, has seemingly a monopoly on the NAPLEX games. There aren't really any other options. There are, but they're not as good, and go through forums, and they're not as good as RXprep. So unfortunately, RXprep is the best we have right now, and of course, I'm hoping to change that one day, but that's not the point. Like this video if you do want to see better alternatives to RXprep on the market, though. So if you're using just the RXprep book, there are about 3 things that I believe you should know that, in my opinion, it seems very odd that the textbook leaves out. They leave it out completely, or they just underplay it and they kind of barely mention it. And even in the practice problems for some of these, because some of these are calculation, well, they all are calculation based, you don't really see it come up. But you do see it a lot, and it's emphasized a lot in the NAPLEX online classes. So if you have the online classes, you might actually be aware of what I'm about to tell you. But if you just have the book, then this should really help you and could result in a pass or fail. So here we go, the 3 things. This first one is not mentioned in your textbook. I only saw it when I was on the NAPLEX online, and I didn't even see it till after my test. So maybe if I had saw this, I would have had a higher grade. But the calculator that's provided on your NAPLEX exam, the manual calculator will auto round. So this could potentially fail you because you're not supposed to round until the very end of a problem. You always hold your decimals until the very end. And you wouldn't know this, like the NAPLEX bulletin doesn't really tell you that. It is something, I mean, if you know calculators, then yeah, you could have guessed it auto round, but you might not be aware. When you get the calculator, it's pretty wide. It holds a lot of decimals, and I'm not sure where the cutoff is, but I know it's not worth finding out. Use that manual calculator for easy calculations. And then you have a provided calculator on the exam, so definitely use that one more. So the other thing that it seems RXprep, they definitely tell you this, but they definitely underplay it. And looking through my problems that I looked at, you don't really necessarily have to add this part, but you do on the exam, and it's really important. And I would say most calculation questions are going to have this, and it's about calculating creatinine clearance. So you can end up doing this. You could still get it right, but you need to know that when you're calculating creatinine clearance, the ideal body weight is what's used. It seems like a poor choice not to have this more emphasized in the practice problems. Of course, they're in the online problems, but it's definitely not as bad as the previous thing, because if you're reading that book and you're really studying, you would know that. So the actual body weight for patients is typically used if their actual body weight is less than their ideal body weight. And then if they have a BMI over 25, you would use your adjusted body weight. But when you look at your formulas, it typically just says weight there. But really, it could be 3 different values depending on the person that they're talking about in the problem. So it makes sense why they would say weight, but they do not emphasize that you need to use that ideal body weight. And you're most of the time, going to use the ideal body weight when in doubt, unless, of course, the ideal body weight is higher than the actual body weight. It's something that can easily be missed. I'm not sure why RXprep doesn't mention it. Now so that's 2 things, and those are probably the more important things. The calculator provided on the exam, auto rounds, and when doing creatinine clearance, be sure to use ideal body weight. Now, the third thing is that if you have older versions of RXprep, so if you have the RXprep 2020, you can go to the website right now, because this video is posted in 2020, and you will see their updates to the book itself, typing, even guideline updates. If new guidelines came out, they might edit something. But what they don't do is keep the updates, a record of it. I couldn't find any. So in 2021, if you're using the 2020 book, you actually can't go and look at what they changed. And a lot of these are goofs on their part. So they really should have an update list for everyone. You might be able to find it in archive websites. That's how I ended up finding some of mine. But the site does not just give you these updates for your 2020 book in 2021. So in my case, it would have been the 2019 book. But of course, do buy that RXprep book. It is a great tool for everyone in school and for studying. And right now, it's the best thing for everyone. So perhaps, these 3 complaints are just oversights. I mean, I'm sure they are. There's no way that they would be that cruel to want you to fail your exam without having the online course. because the online course, of course, is $1,500 and the book, less than 500. And also, I think the online course might be like 1,200, but it's expensive. I think if you go through the school, you can get everything for 1,500. But either way, a lot of people don't have that. So, did you expect me to say something else? Please let me know in the comments if you think the book doesn't tell you something, or if you think you might have failed because of an oversight in the book, or even the online classes, if you know something that they don't really seem to emphasize. So I did start this channel because I was one of the poor interns who could not afford that book and struggled getting my hands on it. And in the description below, I have started a new email list where I send updates on the channel and the future of it. I hope to eventually start helping you guys manage your money, so please get on this list and we can work together. Eventually have a chat going. There is a link in the description, and right now, when you sign up, it includes a free checklist, a free before you start studying checklist. If you already start studying, this could still help you because you never know, maybe you missed something. And it does include the MPJE, so I do post daily here, well, weekdays typically, and that's my Before You Sleep channel, and then has things to know, clinical, and just brand generics, just to refresh yourself. Those are posted daily, so do subscribe and ring that bell. You can always learn something during your day. All right, you guys, have a great weekend. Good luck studying.